All right. We're looking at lesson 6, um, probability distribution and mean. Um, this lesson is really dealing with the idea of when we have a situation where there's multiple possibilities that have probabilities for each one, and we want to know what the probability is of, like, in a sense, part of that coming true. So like in this example, they give us, I'm actually going to go all the way down and use this example here. We have the probability of each outcome on a spinner. And so it's like there's 5 sections on the spinner. You can imagine a circular spinner with 5 wedges in a sense, and each one has an equivalent probability. And so we want to know what's the value we might expect if our goal is to get a highest score as we can. What's the average spin if all probabilities are equal? And then later they're going to introduce one where all probabilities are not equal. So like what if 5 has a really small section and 1 has a really large section? How does that change what we call the expected value? So the expected value is basically gotten by multiplying the outcome times the probability of that outcome. So we're going to be multiplying each group of numbers. We're going to be multiplying the x, 1, times the probability of x, 1/5. And so we're going to go do that for each one of these. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to show you what I did. So we had 1 times 1/5, and that's 0.2. Now, you might want to write each one down and do it separately, but I went ahead and did it in the calculator one after the other. Then I did the answer plus 2 times 1/5, because 2 times 1/5 is right here. Then I added the next one, 3 times 1/5, because 3 times 1/5, and then so on. And then I added that to 4 times 1/5, and then I added that to 5 times 1/5. So like I said, you might want to calculate each one of the 5 things individually and then add them all up, and that's fine. You might want to just write it down. But when I did it all, I get 3 as the answer. So then that means that my expected value is 3. Now let's see what happens when I change that here. So here, the probabilities are different. So now 1 has a probability of 1/4. Okay, 0.25. And 2 has a probability of 1/3. I'm going to go in and actually just change it right here. See how everything's changing. 3 has a probability of 1/6. 4 has a probability of 1/5. That one stays the same. And then 5 has a probability of 1/20. 1/20. And so we see our expected value went down because 5 was not very likely. So 2.46. And so that's probably the answer. We could verify it by doing this. We could verify it by doing 2 and 7 over 15. And we could see 37 over 15, which is 37 divided by 15, which is 2.467. So that works. So that means that's the answer. And so for all of these problems, you're just going to be going in and you're going to be multiplying the outcome times the probability. So like in this one, 1,000 times 0.001 plus 500 times 0.001 plus 0 times 0.998. And that's going to be the expected value of the thing. So there, you're just going to add each one of those things together. Now on number 4, and I'm jumping around a little bit, you can see here that we have the number of boys expected. And all they're doing here is looking at the 3 children and saying boy, 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 girl, boy, and looking at the different combinations that could happen. And then all I've done here is I've done the number of boys for each group. 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and 0. And I put that number here. Then I put the probability. And each one is equivalent. So because every combination could happen equally. So it's 1/8 for every single one of the probabilities. And then all I'm doing is adding 3 times 1/8 plus 2 times 1/8 plus 2 times 1/8. So you're going to have to go through that entire process. You're going to need to multiply each pair and add them all up until you find the mean. So in all of these, you're doing the number times the probability and adding up all of the answers. And that's going to be the same thing that happens down here at the very bottom. 500 times 1 over 600. Add that to this. Add that to this. So you multiply and add each one.